Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. If you're dealing with a restraining order, false allegations of domestic violence, child abuse, rape, molestation, or if you're trying to go back, defending against that stuff, or if you're trying to go back to modify or terminate a bogus protection order, I don't know of anything that helps more than to tell a judge, hey, look, your own peers, a bunch of other judges, a bunch of other lawyers, documentaries, investigative reporters are all saying that women, more likely than not, lie about protection orders or domestic violence in order to get leverage in custody cases or just vindictive control of somebody. I have a accumulation of such quotes in my defense against restraining order packet. That's probably one reason it works for almost every guy who gets it. You know, I probably got more testimonies off of that packet than anything else. You know, you can do your own research on the subject matter. You can go, just Google. I talk about this in several different videos, but some people won't listen to a whole video of mine because, he's distracted and talking about something off subject or won't get to the point. So you won't listen to a 10-minute video because I wait to minute 7, 8, or 9 to give you some juicy information that may help you rescue your kid. But you'll pay an attorney $400 an hour who ain't doing shit for you. What kind of dumbass moronic sense does that make? I'm not here to entertain. I'm not here to be the flashiest. I'm not here to be, pretty boy, big smile, Carl Lewis lookalike, the lead attorney. I'm not here to get followers. I'm here to spit the truth and tell guys that they can fight and win. And if you got the balls to be patient for 10 minutes, almost everything I talk about, except if I'm on a rant about guys growing, actually, when I'm on a rant about guys growing some balls, that's the number one problem with the court system. Guys won't grow some balls and fight. The court system's corrupt. The judges are brainwashed into thinking everything that the mother says is true because mothers go in there and aggressively fight for their cause and dads lay down like a bunch of bitches and we don't even attack the mother, point out what's wrong with her. So when one or two guys do go in there and say, I'm really the victim of domestic violence, they laugh at him. Because every dad should be going in there and saying, women commit 50% of domestic violence and 60% of child abuse. Why are you only looking at me? If you go in there and bomb the court with that over and over again, like in my case, I didn't need to have the whole world behind me and everybody give me a hug and rub up on me and dry hump me and spoon me for me to have the courage to fight for my daughter. My daughter needed me. She was being withheld from me. I went to war and I was going all out. I searched high and low for help. I got a couple of mentors that gave me this much information, 1% of what I'm giving you guys for free. And there's actually people still pissing and moaning that when I do a consult, I charge for my time or I got to argue with them about it or I got to ask them 3 times during the consultation when they're supposed to pay me before. Or I tell people, look, I can't answer 12 different text messages that, you send me a question that takes 30 minutes to answer. I'm not doing it in text messages. And then guys say, well, I already paid for an appointment before. So because you paid for an appointment, you can just drain me of a bunch of free time. That's my gender for you. That's what I'm battling my own gender and father's rights groups and people who should be on my side more than I am the system. Even though I do battle with the system out here protesting other cases that nobody will protest themselves and exposing judges that nobody else will expose. If you guys actually did the same stuff, the stuff I do on other people's cases and it gets me nothing, I just want to stand up for justice and truth and stuff. I don't gain anything. I don't get any money out of it. I just get a sense of disturbing the bubble of a judge and rattling their cage and exposing them to make a little bit of a dent because when I do that stuff, judges change their decisions and become more fair. Everybody's out here pissing, whining, crying, and moaning about judges being unfair and nobody's doing anything about it. You won't even protest your own judge in your own case after your case is over and after you get screwed. Because you got your panties in such a bunch and you got such feminine emotions that you're worried about, you're paranoid about going outside. Anyway, we got to grow some balls. We got to care. There's no difference between me. And a lot of people say, oh, I wish you could be my lawyer in my case. You could be your lawyer too. Just take what I'm showing you and talking about, what worked for me, and go in court and do that. You're just a lazy, shiftless bum or a coward that doesn't want to do the work. And the work is easier than it's ever been. It's 100 times easier than when I did it. There's stuff that took me weeks to do that I could do in 30 minutes now. Because it's so easy with the internet. And you could run your whole case from your actual bed with stuff being through Zoom and stuff like that. But you could do your own research in Google. False claims, domestic violence, abuse, or whatever. I give you a free 2-minute video in my full page that most of you don't ever look at. And all you got to do is, if this is on YouTube, just click the link in the description. I got people who ask me in the comments, how do I get a hold of you? What's your number? Please help. I need help. You think I'm going to go through every single comment that I've ever had and look for people who want an appointment? I don't got time for all that. I stumble across that stuff, but I find people who are crying out for help like 4 months ago when I happened to look at the comments. Why don't you get off your lazy ass and move the mouse a little bit and click just like you would in any other YouTube video? Somebody's selling you something, or if somebody has something important to say and you want to know more about them, you click the description, right? Why would you not do it when we're talking about rescuing your kid? This is insane. This is the most important thing that you could do, and you won't do the same thing that you would do with stuff that's not important. Like Madonna's latest tour, and then you'll click on the description to see what's going on, or how do I get tickets, or whatever. Here I'm saying, here's how to possibly rescue your life with your kids, and you're like, oh, please help me. And then leave, and then never even check to see if I replied to your comment. That's the real problem. But if you do the research and Google false abuse claims, family court, false abuse claims, family court or custody battle, you could just gather all that stuff up and put it together. If you don't want to spend the hours and hours to do that, to find the stuff I did, get my packet for $45. If you got my packet for $45 and did the stuff in there, even if additionally you got a consult with me about talking about details and stuff that I did to fight off 7 anti-harassment orders and 4 domestic violence protection order attempts. The first part was against my baby's mom. I never talked to the chick, and she's trying to get harassment orders against me because of court papers. Then 20 years later, I dated a psycho chick I got a protection order against, and in retaliation, she tried to get one against me and got destroyed several times. So I've been through it all, and I know what I'm doing. I don't know why you wouldn't talk to me. A lot of people say, hey, I got the most important hearing of my life coming up in a week. I'll check in with you afterward. I'm not going to talk to you about how to get ready for the hearing. I'm going to talk to you afterward after I get screwed to see if you can come and do the harder task of rescuing me after that. So you can find the research yourself, and if you tell a judge, Your Honor, she's lying, she's making this up, I'm not a violent person. If you just go with that, then it's your word versus hers. But if you go in there and say, Your Honor, this is a court of preponderance of evidence. If you don't know what preponderance of evidence is, you should. It means more likely than not. And if bar associations and lawyers and judges are saying more often than not women lie about it, in a court where the burden of proof is more likely than not, you don't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that somebody did something or didn't do something in family court. You don't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she's lying. They just have to believe you a little more than her. And if lawyers and entire bar associations are saying it's used as a weapon all the time, and lawyers are admitting that other lawyers lie or tell their clients to lie about this to get leverage, then you can tell the court, hey, look, your own peers say that other peers abuse the system. And they all know that it happens too. And you go in there and say that. This is another one. This is a line I love to use. This is yet another sad case of a woman abusing the system and making a mockery of real women victims who are afraid to come to court because they'll get beat up if they do. She's coming to court against a good guy because she knows I won't hurt her. And she's making a mockery of all the women who fought to put these protections in place. So if you do that, then you empathize and you acknowledge there's real women victims out there instead of saying, I hate women, women lie, and all that stuff. So there's a balance to an argument. And I got a million other arguments to make. If you want to learn more, get a consultation or get my defense against restraining order packet if you're dealing with any kind of false allegations.